Welcome to All Ask the Questions Around Here, the podcast where we explore life's unexpected intersections. I'm your host, Dr. Joseph Elisha. Today, like always, we'll journey from the challenging conversations to the inspiring and lighthearted discussions that connect us all. Let's begin. I've been thinking about something lately, and it occurred to me that there is this thing called the mind, and we tend to think of it sometimes as a verb, sometimes as a noun. And so I was having a conversation with a good friend about it the other day, and I asked him, is the mind a verb or a noun? Because oftentimes it seems like most of us treat it like a noun, like it's this static box full of things, ideas, emotions, opinions, fiction parading around like facts, and it's immovable. It's something that doesn't change at all. So we tend to say things like, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm happy, I'm rageful, as if these are labels. And we tend to label things inside of our minds as if we're a supermarket clerk going around with a sticker device and putting price stickers on the stuff on the shelves. Except the problem is when you take those stickers off, they don't come off in one piece. And there's still little pieces of it left. And those are some of the vestiges of the ideas, internal ideas that we tend to hold about ourselves. And that's the noun part of the mind that we talk about. Again, this static black box that holds everything in it. Sometimes good things and sometimes bad. It brings me back to this idea that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about, which is our mind is like a garden, and what grows in it depends on what you water. To me, that's what dropping the shade is all about. And that's what I want to talk to you about, is when my mind drifts into territory where I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling frustrated or confused or upset about some piece of news, whether it's social media, whether it's a toxic comment by someone at work, I literally drop the shades. I find the space in my house or a room where I can turn off the lights, drop the shades. Oftentimes I'll play a piece of music, something that has a nostalgic link to a memory in the past, and I disconnect. For me, it's a moment of pause and reset. Again, it goes back to Thich Nhat Hanh's mantra, right? The fact that we are not our thoughts. We are really the awareness of our thoughts. He brings up this idea that we should think of ourselves as not the clouds, not the weather, but rather the sky. So if we see these dark clouds, these storms that are akin to the ideas that are going through our minds, often falsehoods, we should be the sky. We should just observe them and not own them. And that's why it's so important that we not label ourselves. When someone says, I've always been the anxious kind, I've always been this way or that way, putting concrete barriers about our own thoughts and about our mind and treating it as this static thing like a mountain. It's immovable and you can't change it. We've got to have a way of being able to disconnect, hit the pause button, and hit the reset button right after to be able to connect with our inner core. Think about it as if you're on the rapids. You're in a boat in the rapids. If the water starts getting rough, you don't just throw the oars in the water, right? You want to navigate, and we've got to have a way to be able to navigate the rough waters around us. And guess what? That is life. Rough waters, stressors, intrusions, falsehoods, identity attacks, whether they come in the form of email, text messages, social media, bad news, a friend telling you something that you don't particularly like. So that brings me to the idea that we need to have a way of pressing the pause button, not putting our head in the sand, but being able to hit the pause button so that we can reconnect with our core and all that is good within us so that we can come back and make better decisions and think about our response to whatever the stimulus is. And that's where nostalgia comes in, because nostalgia is kind of like an emotional time machine. It reconnects you with a moment in the past where you did experience joy, happiness, something as simple as having coffee with an old friend in your favorite coffee shop. It could be the birth of a child. It could be the famous artist that you saw in a concert. And it kind of pulls you out of the internal identity attack and the internal storms and brings you back to you. And I came to realize that that's what I've been doing all these years in the operating room. I first connect with the patient. I usually have just a few minutes to connect with the patient and put them at ease. Then I drop the shades. I use chemical means, very powerful drugs to put them to sleep. Take the patient through the procedure that they're going to have and bring them back safely. But guess what? You don't need to have anesthesia to do that in your life, because you, by virtue of the fact that you're a human being, you are going to have challenges. You are going to have struggles. Life is about struggles, and it is about suffering sometimes. Scientifically, it's been shown that we do need nostalgia. Our brain holds on to these good memories because they serve a good function. And when you do connect with those moments in the past, even if it's for a brief few minutes, what that does is it helps release these neurochemicals, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all those feel-good hormones that are able to clear the storms for you so that you can work on your response more logically and reapproach whatever it is that's challenging you at the time. I want to encourage you to work on this idea with me. I've been using it for years, and I'm going to teach you how to do this so that you can do the same thing in your life. Dropping the shades might mean something else to you. It might mean going for a long walk. It might mean going on a hike. It might mean reconnecting with a friend. It might mean listening to your favorite song. Anything that you can conjure that can connect you with a moment in the past so that you can hit your reset button, connect with your core, and reapproach life. We'll do this together. That brings us to the end of another episode of All Ask the Questions around here. I'm Dr. Elisha, and I hope today's conversation gave you something to reflect on and perhaps something to smile about. If you enjoy what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join us next week for another journey through life's complexities and comforts.